Alright, so the first one, I think this is a little more common for everybody, no matter where you're at in the country or wherever you're at, period, I guess. You should be able to find some type of grass, I would think. Even desert areas and stuff like that, swampy areas. So again, I didn't quite collect as much as I'd like to have, but again, I have snow, so I wasn't able to do that. To process this stuff, I like to keep some of it full, and I'll show you why here at the end of that. But I'll take some of this, and actually I want the top parts where it's already pretty thin, so I'll break some of that off. And all you're gonna do is shred this stuff up, and you know, one of the big fancy words here in the survival world is surface area. You know, attention getter, I guess. But that's exactly what you're trying to do. Create a bunch of small little fibers that will catch a spark from your ferro rod or ignite with a piece of char cloth or something like that. So you're just going to shred that up as fine as you can get it. It doesn't take too much. You don't have to get real fancy with this stuff, but just shred it up best you can. Creating that surface area, and actually while you're doing this, you'll feel stuff falling through your hands almost immediately. That's the nice dry, real fine stuff, and that's the best of all the stuff you're going to be processing up. So I'll just go one more again. That's good enough. Now, like I said, I like to keep some of this pretty long, and I see people get all crazy with this stuff. Just about burn their hands when they go to blow their coal or their ember into flame. They got their hand right under the bird's nest, you know, like that, blowing into it. Thing catches and they gotta drop it because it's on fire in their hands. If you leave some of this long, and this goes for everything we're going to talk about, fold that over basically in half. You can catch these ones sticking up here and just bend them over as well. Get them tucked in there. And basically all you're doing is creating yourself a handle and somewhere to put all your fluffy stuff that we just processed up. So I'll tuck some of that in there. Again, get this real fine stuff that fell down first. You don't want to waste that. Kind of move it around inside there, fluff it up. I'm just going to toss that to the side for a second. Good things to go with this. You can get that to catch without a doubt, but something just to make it a little easier on yourself, this is where you want to add in some of that cattail. And cattail tends to burn really, really fast. So to use cattail by itself, you can get it to work, but it can be a pain in the neck, cause you a lot of frustration. So this is where you want to mix and match things and better your odds. Again, process this up, fluff it up real nice. Alright, then you can even, because you can find this stuff all in the same area, take some of them, you know, flower tops, same thing, process them. Again, you don't have to get real fancy with this stuff. Mix that in with your cattail. And add that right to the center of your tinder bundle. A little much there, but I'd have used all that if I had enough grass here, which I don't. Set it all up, and now you have a handle with your grass. Got a whole bunch of surface area here with the cattail, the dried up flower tops, and you got that processed fluffy grass that you put underneath. So now just get your coal from your primitive fire set, bow drill, hand drill, flint and steel, piece of char cloth, or you can just hit that straight with a ferro rod and be good to go. Blow it into flame, let it catch flame if you're using a ferro rod, and then you can turn that thing right over on itself and it'll go up for you. So that's one proper bird's nest. A good way I like to do it, works well. Again, I don't have nearly the grass that I'd like to have, but today's situation didn't allow for that. Alright, so we'll get that stuff out of the way and we'll go on to the next one. Alright, so let's move on to the cedar bark. Again, I've got some long stuff here, and I'm going to save that and use that for the handle just like I did with the grass. So I'm going to throw some of that off to the side for now. Grab some of the stuff that's already fuzzy, be easy to process. And I can add that to the inside later. And same thing, you're just going to grab some of this stuff, shred it up. I'm not sure you can see the dust flying off this or not, but really dry, very flammable. And the good thing about cedar bark, just like birch bark, is this stuff burns super hot. So you get this in the flame, you're in really good shape for getting your fire going. I like to take a little extra time with the cedar and the birch as well. Not that you have to, but I just like to make sure I got a nice nest, nice tinder bundle. Alright, so there it is. Magic word, surface area, right? And again, all this fine stuff, dusty stuff that's been falling while I've been processing it. Definitely don't want to waste that. Throw that right on top. Just like that. Grab some of our longest stuff. Like we did with the grass. Nice little handle down the bottom. Create a pocket up top for all nice fuzzy stuff. Tuck that right in there. Kind of work it around with your fingers. Nice pocket there. Make sure you get all that fuzzy stuff right on top. I've got enough cedar bark there for 2 birds' nests, but some more of that fluffy stuff. Alright, cedar bark bird's nest, tinder bundle, whatever you want to call it. And that's a pretty good example of how big you actually want it too. Like I said, somewhere along the size of a softball is what you're looking for. Now with this, you can add anything else to it. Everything we just did, cattail, the dried up flower tops, processed up grass if you want, anything like that is only going to help you out, but you definitely don't need it. You can just go straight cedar, just like this one is. That will take with a ferro rod and anything else like we talked about. Char cloth from flint and steel, an ember from your primitive set and whatnot. So that's our cedar bark tinder bundle. Set that aside. Alright, let me digress for a second here, guys. Go back to the grass one here for a second. You could throw some of this pine sap in there if you want to. Sometimes you can get this stuff to catch right away with a ferro rod, sometimes you can't, but it's certainly not going to hurt you to put some of this stuff in there, probably under your nice fluffy stuff in the center. That way when you get that to catch fire, flip it over, this stuff catches, and you're golden. That's pretty much an accelerant at that point. Same thing with the dried pine. Pine needles, same deal. Process them up. Don't have to get real fancy with it because it is pine. Like such. Creating that surface area. Getting it nice and fine. And again, you can tuck that right in there as well, and that'll work for you too. You can add that to the cedar bark, or any of these are interchangeable for the most part. Or you can mix and match them however you want, depending on what's available to you. So last but not least, let's get to the birch bark. We'll show you how that one's done. Alright, so plenty of birch bark here. One thing about this stuff too, like I said, is it doesn't need much processing, but I'm going to demonstrate how to make a bird's nest and tinder bundle with it, just like I have the other stuff. But essentially you can take this stuff on the outside of it where it tends to get real dry and dusty. You can scrape that with your knife or a rock or anything, a stick for that matter. Create some dust on there, and it's like fine powder almost. And you can get that to light just like that with a ferro rod. It's a technique I've used quite a bit. It's easy, quick, doesn't take a whole lot of processing. But just like the rest of the stuff we've been doing, I'll try to keep some of this longer stuff off to the side here. There's a nice big piece of it. But I'll keep some longer strips off to the side for my handle. That's probably way too much to process up. Don't even need that much. And again, this stuff, just like the cedar bark, tends to burn super, super hot. If you watched my 5-minute sustainable fire video, I just took some of this, just like I'm doing now, shredded it up a little bit, and that's what I had down in there. I didn't even need to use the Surefire in that video. I just did it for sake of purpose, as I was demonstrating an emergency, 5-minute fire. So the birch bark is going to take a little bit more processing for a tinder bundle, just so you can get that dried up dusty stuff, the small stuff, creating that surface area again. But like I said, you don't need to get too crazy with it. I just like to have a nice looking bird's nest that I know is going to go up like nothing. So. Alright, so here's birch bark, pretty much processed up as much as we need it to be. And again, this all looks nice, but if you pick that up from where you've been processing it, you get all this fine dust down there. You definitely want to add that in, without a doubt. So take out the heavier stuff. Leave that nice dust to throw on top when you're done. So 2 different piles there. Go ahead and grab my longer stuff over here. Just like that. Just fan it out. That's all I do. Take your fluffy stuff. Then after the fact, you can fold this in on itself. Again, creating a little handle so you're not holding it when it catches fire. And you definitely don't want to hold this one. Create a little pocket in there. And then add your dust right to the top. And there's a Tinder bundle, a bird's nest, all from birch bark. You can hit that thing right now with a ferro rod, and just like that, you'll have fire. Alright guys, so there you have it. The birch bark Tinder bundle. You get the grass with the flower tops and cattail in the middle, and then the cedar bark to the right. Well guys, thanks for joining me for another video on the proper collecting of Tinder materials and creating a bird's nest from that material. Hopefully cleared some things up for some of you guys out there that were having trouble with it or weren't really sure how to do it. That's how I like to do it. It's very effective. I use it all the time. And again, resources are dependent in different areas. I understand that. These are the ones that are prevalent for me up here in the Northeast. And I've got 3 of the top fire-making tinders available to me, being birch bark, pine, and cedar. All very, very good for fire starting. So thanks for joining me. I appreciate your views, comments, your support, everything you do for me, my school, my store. My family appreciates it as much as I do, so we thank you very much. See you real soon with another video, guys.